Yo guys, it's Haunting Lime and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing the same team as yesterday back, and this time I'm showcasing my games for today. So these are 5 sets of my games today, and hopefully by the end of it I do reach rank 22 veteran. It's been some pretty amazing games today, a bit unlucky, but overall this team has worked amazingly well. Obviously, as you can probably tell, onto a great lead against the Obama Snow. My opponent switched out, so obviously I'm keeping my Obstagoon here because I don't want it to see my backline, and all you have to do here is shield the Focus Blast or the attempted Focus Blast and just carry on throwing Ice Slashes. So this team has worked out amazingly. Also guys, if you are enjoying what you see, please subscribe and also like the video, it really helps out. And yeah, if you are thinking about running this team, it's helped me climb from about 2160 to all the way to 2499. So I've just barely not been able to get to veteran, but you'll see my games today, and I've been pretty close. Slightly unlucky in some games. I misplayed a bit as well, you know, being a bit anxious. But this team has done really, really well. So overall, this team has about about 70% win rate to about maybe 66, depending on all the games if they were counted correctly. So I've played this team for about 90 games now. So overall, that's about 3 days, 4 days. Can't count, can I? It's about 4 days, 3.5. So I did start playing this team I think on Monday for 3 games or 3 sets, and I've really liked it since. I've had multiple 5-0s, loads of 5-0s actually. I think about 4 to 5 5-0s with this team. A couple of 4-1s, a few 3-2s, and you know, even a few 2-3s. And sadly, you know, this team is just really well, but it also goes 1-4 as well. So this is going to be a showcase of all the games that I have done today. Yeah, obviously first game was pretty strong in my favour, and Obstagoon just took it by storm. And on to the next game, off to a bad lead against S Cavalier. So again, straight to my safe switch in Drift Blame, again countered by the Lapras, but obviously I'm not going to go for the Icy Wind because it's resisted, and also I think it's double resisted, and also Shadow Ball will do more. And I know my Drift Blame can survive because most Laprases don't actually carry Ice Beam anymore, unless you're playing the Ultra League, not the Premier Cup. So this setup is easy to tank, and I'll throw another Shadow Ball. If this gets shielded, fair enough, more farm for my Obstagoon, but if it doesn't, it's still pretty good because now the Lapras will only throw a little bit of energy on me, which is fine. So I'm happy for my Drift Blame to go down. And yeah, this team has done really, really well. I really enjoyed playing it. It did take a little bit of learning because some matchups are not in your favour, especially like if you go against a fighter. Dragonite can be difficult, but you win in the one shield. Charizard is fairly decent as well, but again you have to use a shield, and the same with Venusaur. The backline really handles Venusaur. So here I'm going straight for the Blast Burn. I've used no shield, so it's basically worth using a shield. And even though it was a Leaf Blade, it's worth basically just saving my Charizard for the end game. And my opponent does shield that, but I should be able to get to a Dragon Claw before I get taken out. And obviously I've still got Obstagoon in the back, which can handle this Gallade pretty easily. So I bring it back in, and I do have a Night Slash ready, and I've still got the shield. I was counting, so I do suspect it to be a close combat, and my opponent will dip from here, but he is staying, so I'm farming it down completely. And I do throw the Night Slash at this switch, so great switch by my opponent, but Escavalier is already fairly low, so I can just I do try countering it down, which was a really ballsy play. And here I was like, you know what, GG, well played to my opponent, but this Drillman barely doesn't take me out. 1 HP in a dream, and because of that extra farming, I also take this Escavalier out. I get the boost as well, which is amazing. Get the boost all the time, and this Night Slash will take the Gallade out. So really lucky game for me. Pulled it through in the end. So well played to Obstagoon. Obstagoon is such an amazing lead. I do love it. Now on to the next game. So this first set was a 5-0. Had some really good leads. Not the best leads in some places, but really managed to pull through. This was around midnight. I do find midnight games tend to be really, really good, whereas games during the day get a little more tougher. And I saw loads of Empoleons today, which really hurt my score. So yeah, my opponent switched out into a Typhlosion. Typhlosion is good, but it does take a bit of time to get the Incinerates going and charging up to the Blast Spin. So I'm just going to shield this because I want to keep my I want to keep it alive, and I want to tank the Blast Burn on my Charizard instead. So here I should be able to farm it down before it gets to another one, but I can always take one anyway, it's fine. So I'm trying to fully commit to the farm down, and I decide to shield because he's got an Executor in the back and I've got loads of energy. I might have survived, but I wasn't sure. So obviously I stayed in, I was to use the shield. So now I've still got 3 Pokemon, opponent's got 2. He brings out Empoleon. So like I was saying, I've seen many Empoleons today, which was frustrating, but some I could defeat. So here I was able to get to the second one just before I got taken out, which was amazing. Charizard really pulling through. I love the synergy of the team. Drifblim and Obstagoon really work well together. They cover each other's weaknesses, and the Charizard is just that heavy hitting, sweeping damage to cover like Venusaur's, the Escavaliers, the weaknesses that even Obstagoon has and Drifblim has. So Executor comes in, and at this point all I have to do is get to the Icy Wind, kind of get the Confusion's damage lowered, and I can just fast move it down. Obviously I have the Obstagoon in the back as well, so I think my opponent realised it was pretty difficult from there, so he was just farming it up. But yeah, on to the next game now. Good game to my opponent. Obstagoon to Charizard. So this is one of those matchups where you have to use a shield, so let's see how I play this. It's a Dragon Breath variant as well, so I'm not a really big fan of the Dragon Breath variant. First of all, I don't really know the counts that well, I kind of just got a feel. So I get the boost, which, you know, like I said, stay in the match, and the boost helps you win a lot of matches that might not be in your favour, so hence why Obstagoon is really good at flipping games around, and go straight for the second Night Slash. This should get the shield. I did suspect my opponent to maybe throw the Dragon Claw initially, but that's why I didn't shield. My opponent switches out straight into his Venusaur, and I switch out into my own Charizard. So here I was debating switching into my Drifblim, but I decided to just farm this Venusaur down as much as possible and take it out with some extra energy going forward. The reason sometimes I do switch into, I do mostly switch into Drifblim because I prefer walling the Venusaurs or grass types, but sometimes just in the play you kind of make those quick calls, and I also want a Charizard to kind of get ahead of energy so I can beat the other Charizard. So here just going straight for the Dragon Claws because the Charizard is fairly low, and I will shield this because I suspect it to be a Blast Blend, and it is. And now it's basically 2v1 versus a Gallade, and I've got 2 hard counters still, and this is pretty much game. My opponent can try to do a lot of things, so here I just have to take the shields, and I switch in straight to my Drifblim because both his charge moves are really ineffective. Confusion does hurt though, so if he was to carry on I would have just Icy Winded him and then won the game from there. So against a Dragonite, so I will have to use a shield here, but I'm able to outpace it to 3 Night Slashes, so I do win this matchup if I use a shield. But something I learned today, which I wasn't aware of, so some really good players actually that they're aware of, you don't have to actually shield the Dragonite. So if they go straight Dragon Claw and not shield, they will still force a shield from me and win with the shield advantage, which is pretty smart. I wish I knew that earlier. I get the boost anyway, so did get quite a lot of boosts this first set. So here I'm using my shield, and you know I do win the switch advantage. So like I said, my opponent really knew how that match a lot better. My opponent does bring out an Escavalier, so I'm gonna just cross chop and dip. Switch straight into my Drifblim because Escavalier can't do much. I think I tried switching, but I might have missed here and there, so it's fine. I won't get switch locked now, so it's even better actually. I think that was the idea because I was like 1 counter away. So go straight into my Drifblim, and I know I don't have to shield anything because Escavalier really can't do anything to my Drifblim. So I'm just going to farm it down for a little bit of extra energy and just throw the Icy Wind. I do suspect him to shield here, hence why I'm throwing the Icy Wind. Even if he didn't, I would have basically got a low in farming range. My opponent brings out an Empoleon, so tons and tons of Empoleons showed up today, which was quite frustrating, but it's fine. I'm able to get the Shadow Ball through, and now Charizard has a much easier game where all it has to do is just get to the Dragon Claw. I think my opponent was trying to get to double Hydro Cannons because that's his only win condition now. So I've also got a shield as well, so I'm just going to shield this, and I should be able to fire spin it down. And yeah, and my opponent is going to bring back the Escavalier, but obviously Charizard beats Escavalier, so this was a double steel team, which my Charizard are really good against. So again, guys, here's a long video, but if you do enjoy the content, this was a 5-0 set. Please do like, share the video, and also subscribe. It really will help. And also, I'm thinking about doing possibly a Christmas giveaway. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see what I can do. So off onto the next game. So here, I was really anxious after it. So I played the first game just after midnight, and the second set I played around about 10 AM. So I was a bit nervous. I didn't really want to play this set because I was like, what if I get the bad leads? Because I tend to go 5-0 and then go 1-4 sometimes. So off against a decent lead. Gyarados is pretty good, but I do beat it because the Night Slashes hurt more, and obviously they get stab as well. Whereas the Aqua Tails are not that hard hitting, so I don't have to worry about shielding. And here I'm going for the second Night Slash, and that won't actually go through. So I should be able to commit to the full farm down, and also tank this Aqua Tail as well before going down. The good thing about Obstagoon is, well, I would obviously commit to the next Night Slash as well, sorry, to take him out. So I do win the match without shielding. My opponent does decide to shield, so here I do bring in my Drifloon to farm it down. My opponent realizes that, and I was a little late switch here, thinking that, hey, wait, what's here? It's a steel type, so I was a little Drifloon this Empoleon, so I didn't switch into my Charizard straight away, but I decided to go in here, and I was counting the sparks, and basically just threw this Dragon Claw to kind of almost take it out with one more 5-spin, and it was pretty easy from there. And my opponent has a Swampert in the back, so it can be a little tough, but I'm going to go straight for the harder hitting move. I do have Drifloon in the back, and Drifloon has a really good match against a Swampert, so I'll just go through. So now the match is pretty much in my favour, because Swampert has to do at least 2-3 Hydro Cannons to defeat Drifloon, if it's even on energy, and if I get Icy Winds off, it has to definitely do 3. So I switch straight into, well, it takes my Charizard out, and this Drifloon basically can handle the Swampert. I did expect there to be a sack swap, so I did hold my energy there, and my opponent realised that, and it was game over there. So great game to my opponent. On to the next game. Sorry guys, I'm still a bit unwell, so my voice might be going a bit more muted by the end of it. So on to a decent lead. Not the best matchup for me, because Swampert can obviously dish out a lot of damage in the Hydro Cannons. I think 3 take me out. But I'm also able to fight back with these Night Slashes as well, so because mud shots rarely do any damage, I'm able to obviously chunk away. So my opponent does a really good swap into Roll Muck, and this is the game where I really lost it, because it was such a... I thought I played well, and I did try playing well. I farmed up a lot more energy and switched straight into my Charizard because I didn't want the Swampert to see it, and also I wanted to get a little more energy on my Obstagoon anyway, in case I had to bring it back out for a Swampert. So I got straight for the Dragon Claw because I suspected a shield, and I know I'm able to get to a move, so I shield up here. Maybe this is my mistake, shielding up there and trying to just throw this Dragon Claw. My opponent obviously comes out with more farm as well, so that was probably my mistake. But my opponent actually has a double shield, which is great for me, and uses energy now to take me out. So this turned out really well at this point. So I'm trying to commit to the full farm down here, and I thought I could actually do it. And I thought I caught the Sludge Wave, but to my surprise, it was actually a Dark Pulse. So Dark Pulse has resisted it. It should have been a Sludge Wave, and that basically turned the game around to not being in my favour, because this obviously Swampert has a lot of energy that where I switched out into, and it's found me extra here as well, so I can throw this one as well. So my opponent played that really well. It should have been a Sludge Wave, but things happen. My opponent was probably just might not have built enough energy for it. I was trying to count. I'm pretty sure it should have been a Sludge Wave, but it is what it is. And obviously he still got quite a few Pokemon left, and in the back he brings out his Escavalier, which, yeah, it's a good game from here, even though my Obstagoon is loaded with energy. So the idea was good, but sadly the execution was not the best. So this was the game that should have got me to veteran ranking, because my last set got me to 2499. So I lost it here, and I lose a few more games, and this set could have been the set that actually decided got me to veteran. So onto a great lead here against an Abomasnow. So I'm going straight with the Night Slash. Normally I do go for the cross chop, so I don't know what I was thinking there. I thought he's going to shield this, which he doesn't. My mistake. Don't get the boost as well, so not great. So here my opponent probably most likely will throw the energy ball, which is fine. Obstagoon can tank it like a boss. And now I go straight for the cross chop. Arguably I could have farmed it down, but I decided to just commit the energy, and I do switch out into my own Drifblim now on the Machamp. And I do suspect this to be a rock slide, but it's a cross chop, so I get baited there. So I'm gonna go straight for the Shadow Ball, because all my Machamp matchups I always like to throw Shadow Ball, because it mostly goes unshielded, which is great. My opponent has his own Drifblim in the back, so this should be in my favour, but my opponent does have 2 shields, and Drifblim can hurt, and I throw the Icy Wind to kind of debuff the Drifblim, because Drifblim can do well against my team, yeah, this Shadow Ball takes me anyways, but the so-called debuff will make this much more easy for me to actually handle. So at this point we're at even shields, so I do decide to shield this because Icy Wind will take me out, and I go straight for the Night Slash. If this goes through, I'll do quite a lot of damage to the Drifblim. My opponent does decide to shield that, so at this point I'm just racing straight towards the Night Slash, but my opponent does a really good sack swap onto this, and yeah, well played to my opponent. I do switch out, and I will sadly eat most likely a cross chop here, which is fine. And now it's a race to the Blast Burn. I do go for the Dragon Claw, thinking that I can get it low enough, and then I can bring my Obstagoon back and try to win the game from there. My opponent has to throw a Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball won't take me out. So I do have some play here. So yep, the Shadow Ball comes through, and I'm just getting it low and getting it to the next Dragon Claw, so I do win this game. I thought this is a game I lost, but I do pull this one back. It's another game which I do lose, I think, to a Drifblim, so great game to my opponent. He did some really good sack swaps, and thankfully I was able to get that to the victory. On to the next game. I think this is the game, so Drifblim, great lead. So at this point I'm thinking, yes, the game wants me to win. My opponent brings out a Kingdra, and I bloody hit Kingdra. Ideally I should have gone for the Shadow Ball here, because I normally go for the Shadow Ball first, but I think my opponent was counting, so I didn't even bait, so my overconfidence actually bit me in the ass there, and it helped me lose the game. So never get cocky. So I was anticipating that to be an Obstazuka, and boy, this guy gets all the right debuffs at the right time. It did basically turn the game around. So he shielded the Shadow Ball, and I'm just about able to get to the Icy Wind, but I get taken out. So at this point I'm like, okay, what do I do? So I do bring back the Obstagoon, suspecting this to be an Octazooka. I wasn't ready to shield, but I thought I might as well, because I really don't want to face an Outrage. So sadly it's an Octazooka, and I get debuffed again. So this guy is really putting in the work, and because of that debuff I wasn't able to take it out with the Night Slash. So this would have been a different match if it wasn't for the debuff. So he does it again, and thankfully that time there was no debuff. So here I should have probably switched out straight away, but yeah, he had a Swampert, so I was kind of forced to stay, which wasn't great. And obviously because Obstagoon is already nerfed in terms of the damage he can throw, it's going to make this matchup even harder, and it's normally even if it's similar health, and my opponent is decided to let it go through. So I am here going to commit the shield, but my opponent has been farming down tons, so I do suspect this to be a second Hydro Cannon coming my way, and at this point Swampert is still too healthy to farm down completely with my Charizard. So well played to my opponent for that game. I didn't even see his Drifblim again, to be honest, so he really turned that game around. Kingdra is such an amazing, well, he brings it out in the end anyway, such an amazing Pokemon. I really want to build it, but don't know, just not great at baiting Octazookas and Outrages. I'll probably mess it up probably. So here, go for the Blast Burn, my opponent shields it, and yeah, it's already a game anyway, I already know. And in my stomach I'm already getting a sinking feeling, like, yeah, everything's over. So, on to the next game. So as you can see I'm facing a lot of veterans, previous rank 10 players, and off to a bad lead. I think this is game 5, and I've noticed that most of my game 5s today have had a really lost lead, like a hard lost lead, and then a hard counter as well for my switch. So here Snorlax comes into my Drifblim. Don't want to see it. It's really going to hurt my team. So guys, if you are enjoying what you're watching, please do like and subscribe, it really helps out. And let me know any suggestions if you want me to try out different teams. I am trying to climb as much as possible, hence why I've kept the same team as yesterday. And I'm just trying to just get better at the game as well, and also provide content every day. So here the players just throw the icy winds, and my opponent will throw his energy. And this one actually plays it really well because he stores loads of energy going into the next match, and he switches out as well to preserve it. So he played really, really well. So just keep throwing icy winds, debuff the Snorlax as much as possible, but the Licks will obviously beat me. This is a match loss, so I don't have to shoot anything. It's just admit defeat and take it from there. Snorlax does get fairly low, so I do try to switch out. Maybe my mistake was switching out here, trying to get ahead in energy. And my opponent is bringing out a Gyarados, which has Aqua Tail, so I'm going to also shield this. Throwing the my own Dragon Claw to shield his own shield out, which I do get, thankfully. And now I'm going to go straight for the Blast Burn. So I do think this is a game I win, so I think I'm losing the match against someone else. So because so many games played this morning, I'm losing a little bit of track on which games I've lost. Some games are very similar. So at this point I'm like, okay, it's an Aqua Tail, it can take me out. The Gyarados has done its job. I've still got the Drift Bomb in the back for the Surf Edged, so I'll bring it out here. I do obviously expect this to be either a Night Slash or a Leaf Blade, so I do shield that up, and I go straight for the Shadow Ball, thinking he might not shield. Ideally should have just gone for the Icy Wind, and potentially would have got to a second Icy Wind with the debuff, but yeah, you live and learn. So again, could have done better. My opponent basically does a close combat to finish me off even more, so great, well played to my opponent. So I could have done better there. Went 2-3 in that set. It's not great, so lost about 16 points or 15 points, so not too bad, not too bad. So here, off against a good lead against a Dragonite. So again, like I said, I can win the lead if I shield once and just go straight Night Slash, get the boost even better. And my opponent, I don't think he shields. He understands the matchup really well, so he's happy to let his Dragonite go down without shielding or committing a shield. So yeah, I'm really loving the Ultra Premier League Cup now at the moment. I had my first week with the Cup, it was pretty much going up and down, 2200s constantly. Just wasn't finding the right team. Found a few teams, but they gave me some success, but it was obviously winning and losing quite evenly. So I went, I think, from a 65% win rate in Great League to about 58, and now I'm hovering about 60. So I've made quite a big climb back up. But yeah, the first few days of Ultra Cup Premier League really hurt. So here, I'm going for the Icy Wind because I do suspect him to shield. So Drifloon does quite well against the Grand Bull, but I do have to watch out for Crunch. So my misplay there was not getting enough energy for the actual baiting the Shadow Ball basically. My opponent's really good switch on the Icy Wind into the Empoleon, so yeah, bad play on my part for letting that happen as well. So I need to be careful when to throw Icy Wind because I'm letting it go through and my opponent is switching or, you know, understanding it's an Icy Wind and not falling for the bait. So at this point Empoleon comes out and my Charizard isn't really going to have the best field day from here. Go for the Blast Burn. This should do some good little damage if it goes through. And it does take the Empoleon out, and obviously Granbull at this point has quite a bit of energy. I'm not able to get to the Dragon Claw. So had I been able to get to the Dragon Claw there, this game would have been in my favour. But Ultra League is pretty much all about just very close games. So we'll play to my opponent. On to the next game. So up against a Venusaur lead. So again, I do try and throw the Night Slash, and I should learn my counts a lot better and basically switch out on the Sludge Bomb. But I think every Venusaur I face, they always overcharge and they don't throw, which hurts me later on because they can bring out stuff like that. So my opponent obviously had a hard counter, Ampharos in the back. Usually I see Ampharos in the lead, so I've started seeing a few Ampharoses in the back. So I just go for the Icy Wind to debuff my opponent because I do want to be able to get to a second one, and I know I can survive this Thunder Punch. Because CMP tied, I will get this Icy Wind off as well. My opponent probably shields this. He doesn't shield it, he understands, so lets it go. He does farm me down, which is fine. So at this point I want to bring Obstagoon back and fully commit to the farm down. This was the fourth wall switch, and I shouldn't have shielded there. That cost me the game, because I knew, in the back of my mind I was like, okay, it's 5 to get to Focus Blast, 3 for the first Thunder Punch, and 2. So 4 shouldn't get to the Focus Blast again, but I wasn't sure, so that's down to my knowledge. So I lost that one there. So I do get I'm trying to switch out there, but I do eat the Frenzy Plant and I switch out eventually, but my opponent has an Empoleon. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Empoleons right at the back as soon as I bring my Charizard out, and it's really been punching me hard. I've seen a lot more today than yesterday. It's one of those things, some days they're there, some days they're not. The teams do change. Like anything, I did see a lot of Empoleon leads with the 2 dragons in the back. It really hit that team, but it works, so I can see why people use it. So yeah, I get taken out there, and even though I've got energy on my Obstagoon, this cross chop won't be enough to take it out, and I can't get enough farm, and my opponent already has a charge move ready for me anyway, so well played to my opponent again. So this point I'm like, shit, 2 losses on this set. This is gonna be me going back straight down. So I did start this set off, the first set that I played, I think about 24-20, and going 5-0 got me to 24.99, and then I lost. So I'm like, I need to get this set. I need to win at least 3-2 to kind of go back up a bit close to the veteran ranking. So I'm going to give these next 3 games everything, and thankfully it does work out, because this set I do go 3-2. So I'm able to take the Dragonite out quite comfortably there. Just waiting for my opponent to bring something out now. He brings out a Lapras, which is fine by me. I'm just going to throw the Shadow Ball, and that should be quite a lot of damage before Drifloon gets taken out, which is really fine for me, because now I can also farm it down without taking too much damage on the Obstagoon. I am thinking that maybe I should just throw the Icy Wind and have just tons and tons of farm for my Obstagoon, but it's one of those things that just makes the match much longer. I'm not sure if it's good enough, and so my opponent switches out into a Toxic Croak from my Obstagoon, so I swapped straight out into my Charizard, and I know the first one was a Mud Bomb. I wasn't sure if it would be, but I shielded it anyway, and the second one I do throw my own Dragon Claw, because I think Dragon Claws are enough to take the Toxic Croak out. This doesn't get shielded, but it does leave the Toxic Croak in farming range, and I know I can survive a Sludge Bomb, so I just let it go. I still got a decent pairing or a decent matchup against the Lapras in the back, so I'm able to farm that down. Both of us at 1 shield, not able to get Dragon Claw off, but yeah, I've still got a cross chop on the Obstagoon, and this probably gets shielded, which it does, and I've still got a shield, so I'm thinking my opponent better not get to another move. Thankfully he doesn't, and I'm able to throw the second cross chop. I think he might have been a Surf or close to 2. I was counting at the time. Let's count now. So on to the next game. So good game to my opponent. So let's see, the lead here is an Obstagoon, so not great. So you don't want to see this. You rarely see Obstagoon leads, but when you do, it's all about who can bluff. My opponent does switch out into Clefable, so this Night Slash is wasted. So would the cross chop, so it's fine. So I switch immediately out into my Drifloon because I don't want it to be paired up with the Obstagoon, and this time I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball. Most likely it won't go shielded, and it doesn't, which does a lot of damage. So here all I have to do is just commit the shield and farm the Clefable down, and hopefully I haven't thrown it. And yeah, I don't commit the shield, I just let it go through, because I'm like, okay, I can just farm the rest with my Charizard. It'll get me ahead on energy. Obstagoon is going to probably come back, and obviously if I'm on Obstagoon to deal with it too. The reason why I let my Drifloon go, because obviously I knew he had an Obstagoon. There was no point to keep it alive, even though I was close to an Icy Wind. So my opponent is going to keep throwing Night Slashes, let the first one go through. The second one is actually a Hyper Beam, so I'm glad I shielded that. I wasn't sure what it was going to be. I was suspecting it to be a Gunk Shot, because my opponent was charging so much. I had to shield it. Thankfully I shielded that correctly, and here I was able to get a perfect switch onto the Obstagoon. My opponent threw a Night Slash, which is resisted, even better. My opponent has a type fortune in the back. I think there was a little bit of lag, or just the animation. I'm able to toss the speed to these night slashes before my opponent can actually throw a blast spin. I do also have a shield for a good measure, and a decently healthy Charizard, so this game is pretty much in the bag. My opponent shields that as well. So here I believe my opponent is going for 2 blast spins, so he severely overfarmed and wasn't able to throw anything, so this next night slash will actually seal the deal, and Obstagoon comes in, is taken out straight away. So well played again to my opponent. On to the next game. Up against a bad lead, Escavalier. This is game 5 I believe, so I'm like, okay, game's messing me around again. So my opponent switches, brings out a Swampert, so I'm like, brilliant, that's fine. I need to see Swampert before it catches my Charizard in the back. Because obviously I have a Charizard for the Escavalier, I'm not worried about the counter using. So here, again, the tactic is to go straight Shadow Ball, and you should survive 1 more Hydro Cannon. You can tank 2, and also then throw basically, if you're having energy, or even energy, a Shadow Ball and an Icy Wind. This one will probably get the shield most likely, and that's fine by me. And it does, brilliant. And because the mud shots are basically so slow at generating energy, I wasn't able to throw that last Icy Wind. I think I would have got to it, but sadly it lagged, which I was a little annoyed by, but thankfully I still am able to win the game. The Hydro Cannons don't hurt now, so even though he's got 2, my opponent fully farmed my Drifblim down. Because the debuffed, it doesn't really do much, and because I know he has an Escavalier in the back, I wanted to farm on the Obstagoon, so right now I'm tapping my Charizard because I want to get a switch in as soon as possible so the new Escavalier would come in. So here I'm counting. I'm making sure to throw my charge at the right time, so an extra Volt Switch goes through. So I'm going to go straight Dragon Claw here because my opponent will shield, because he doesn't want my Charizard to survive, and he wants to have a decent fight against the Sampharos, because obviously Escavalier is useless against my Charizard, and obviously I've got 2 shields, and now I'm able to go straight for the Blast Spin. So if my opponent hadn't shielded there, it would have made it quite tricky, but that Blast Spin basically has sealed the game completely. I'm also able to get to this Dragon Claw as well, so this won't take it out, but I've still got Obstagoon with energy in the pack, so nothing to worry about. So my opponent has to throw energy here, Aerial Ace or a Drillblim, and because obviously my Obstagoon had a decent amount of health, it can do some work against the Escavalier. I'm able to get the cross drop to win the game. So great game to my opponent. So this was a 3-2 set, so I was able to climb back up to 2-4-96. I was thinking maybe that was enough to get over the hurdle, but sadly it wasn't. So onto a great lead, delayed against the Obstagoon. So here I am counting. I'm able to throw this off on 3rd Confusion. I do believe I'll lose this game, which sucks because I had such an amazing lead, which is fine. So my opponent is severely farming. He wants to throw moves back to back. I think this is the 5th Confusion, so I just switch out thinking he's going to throw here, but he doesn't, and I'm punished straight away with Snorlax. So this is GG already. I hate seeing Snorlax on the safe switch Drifblim. It makes the gameplay even harder. So this is the gameplay where my opponent does really well at managing his energy and having loads stored. So excuse me guys, my voice is starting to get muted now because of how long the video's been going on for. But yeah, you can just watch this without me saying anything. It's pretty self-explanatory. You've seen it before. The previous match against the Snorlax, you can't win it, so just constantly throw the Icy Winds. So guys, let me know how your games have been going. I have the leaderboards are out, and I do hope to get to the leaderboards soon, in a day or 2. I'm really close to getting to rank 22, and I think about 150 points away from the leaderboard at that point. So in sight, but still out of reach, sadly. So yeah, here I do switch out into my Charizard to kind of get ahead of energy, and I do eat a Leaf Lid. Ideally, I should not shield there because I would have realised my opponent was going to throw close combat eventually, and I do basically burn both shields. I switch out here to get the Obstagoon ahead energy, but because the Snorlax did a great swap earlier, he was able to have all that energy stored. So I get met with a superpower and a second one. or a body slam actually. But yeah, get a bit of energy, but my opponent still has a shield and there's an Empoleon in the back, so yeah, that was pretty much lost game from there. Yeah, too many Empoleons for my liking today. So great game to my opponent. On to the next one. So again, off to decent lead against Venusaur. So again, I'm going to try the same tactic of catching the Sludge Bomb. But again, it's going to fail. My opponent's going to overcharge and get to the next one. Oh, switch out, sorry. So yeah, my opponent is bring out a little Muck, which isn't great. I go for, obviously I throw the Icy Wind here just to debuff so I can survive another one. Obviously the play here only is Icy Winds because Shadow Ball is resisted, so I'm not going to obviously shield my Drifblim. You can win the matchup if you're able to obviously get head energy and throw through like 2 Icy Winds at the little Muck before it gets to the first Dark Pulse. Yeah, at this point this little Muck will farm me down, but I think he decides to throw his energy. He could have farmed me down, but I think he didn't want to get debuffed again, so that's fine. I do bring in my Obstagoon now to try to fully commit to the farm down again and hopefully learning my lesson from the last time. And yeah, I do not shield this because obviously it's already had 2 debuffs, so I can take it and I'm able to fully farm the little Muck down. I get a good switch here onto a Frenzy Plant on the Charizard, so good switch by me, but my opponent has some energy. My opponent also brings out a Charizard. Now it's all about who can bait successfully and who gets the Blast Burn off, because that will change the time of the game. So I'm going straight for the Blast Burn here, thinking my opponent is going to shield. So ideally I should have done the same here, but I was like, I'm going to trust the Obstagoon to close the game. So here I do get farmed down a little, which is fine. But my Obstagoon already has loads and loads of energy, so I do need to start burning my opponent's shields, otherwise it'll just farm me down. My opponent made a big misplay there. He should have kept the Charizard alive. Charizard does more fast move damage, whereas Venusaur really doesn't. Even though like my counters are resistant, counter damage will actually add up and take the Venusaur out. So because I'm solo energy, I'm able to get to another Night Slash, and I've still got 2 shields. And like I said, Venusaur is really good at generating energy. He already had some residual from the last fight, but against an Obstagoon, the Vine Whips don't do anything, so he should have stayed in with the Charizard and not thrown his energy. But it's fine, giving me a chance to win. So yeah, to shield this, and I should be able to counter this through. So great game to my opponent. On to the next one against Seriously One. So onto a good lead, but here this is where I start seeing Dragonites. So my opponent switches out into a Tangler, and I make the big misplay of switching into my Charizard. I saw the grass typing and I thought it's a Meganium because I faced a Meganium before, and ideally I should have switched into my my Drifblim, but I didn't. And also I do bait here as well. Didn't need to, but I'm able to get to 2, so that worked out. So I used 1 shield. I will take out the Tangrowth. He does shield there, sadly, so now I'm like, okay, Charizard, I've got to let you go. And this one hurt. I should have really switched into Drifblim, so that was my mistake on the switch. Drifblim also takes effective damage from Razor Leaf, but yeah, the reason why I switched out was because I didn't want it to be facing Empoleon, but I should have been more thorough because Empoleon can just face off against my Obstagoon, depending on the right switch timing and everything. So here I keep my Drifblim alive just in case there's a worthwhile matchup in the back. So I do eat the Hydro Cannon. My opponent does a great switch on the charge move, which really should have been a Night Slash. That could have been a lot better, or it would have been a lot better. It was a Night Slash, but it wasn't. So yeah, well played to my opponent for actually, winning the game from there. Maybe if I had thrown a Night Slash, I would have been arranged to take it out from here. So I'm going to throw a Dragon Claw, and this next Night Slash is going to almost KO the Charizard. And I do bring in my Drifblim to kind of get ahead on energy because I'm still trying to win against this game. This is just Dragon Claw, which is fine, thankfully. So here I'm able to get to the Shadow Ball. So I think this game I just about win. And yeah, my opponent has to throw energy and I'm able to just hex it down. So really close, did well to win that one. I thought I misplayed heavily by moving into the tangle. It worked out. So on to the next game. So this is another Empoleon, you can tell. So yeah, Kingdra has been ruining my day since, well, this morning. So brings it out, and I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball this time. Last time I believe I went for the Icy Wind, so my opponent does King Shield, which is great. And I do suspect this to be just an Obstagoon, so I'm not going to shield this. And it turned out to be an outrage, so well played to my opponent for fully committing to that. So I'm trying to farm down here before an Obstagoon comes. The Obstagoon will hurt. So I was able to get through, and because obviously the Empoleon in the back, I didn't want him to be his chances to spread up. Ideally I should have probably gone in with my Obstagoon and just farmed the Kingdra down to have loads of energy. But I'm able to get that blast spin through, and because I've still got 2 shields, there's still a good chance I can win this. But I decided to choose the shield here. My opponent does bring out his own Shadow Dragonite, so Shadow Dragonite does win the matchup quite cleanly. Even though I'm ahead in energy, my opponent has 2 shields, so unless I can catch and move on my Charizard, it's game over. So hadn't I messed around or switched into my counter correctly, it would have been slightly better. I actually farmed down with the Obstagoon. I probably would have won this game a lot cleaner. So I do get the boost there, which would have been nicer on the last one, but it is what it is. And now I do switch in thinking he's going to throw a second one, but I think he leaves it and he farms it down, and now he throws a nice slash. So maybe I could have won this if I just committed to just countering my opponent down and maybe switching out after one more counter, but it was a close one. So on to the next game. Again, lead loss. This is game 5, always happens, against the Clefable. So I switch out and got a bit of lag. My opponent brings out Kingdra. So yeah, previous 3 games, Kingdra was just messing me about. So again, go straight for the Shadow Ball, and this time around my opponent gets to knock to Zuka. So I let it go. I'm thinking, okay, this is fine. I can just farm down now with my Obstagoon. So I throw this Icy Wind to debuff the Kingdra. He does shield, which is great. That's actually amazing. And now I'm going to just bring this Obstagoon because I don't want it to be paired up with Clefable. I think it's an XL Clefable as well. So here I commit to the full farm down. My opponent does have a charge move, and I do suspect this to be an Octazooka. I was fearful it might be an outrage, but I want to hold on to the shields because I want the energy. So now I'm going straight for the switch because I don't want to eat a charm and get ahead in energy. Ideally I should have just switched out straight away to Charizard and got 1 5 spin on the Kingdra, but my opponent has an Empoleon in the back, so yeah. Played well, but yeah, my opponent has the Empoleon in the back basically hard counters my Charizard, so there's nothing I can do there. Even though I got 2 shields, the Clefable will take my Obstagoon out, so I did try. I wanted to surrender, but I was like, just you never know, you might pull it through. So I did try, but yeah, it's pretty much lost here. Okay, so fully farmed down, but yeah, Night Slash is resisted, and so is the cross chop. So there's nothing I can do. I think one more charm, not charm can go through anywhere after this move. So yeah, maybe if Clefable was a bit weaker, I might have had a chance. Right, so we'll play to my opponent. That was a 2-3 set, so went 5-0, went 2-3, so that time around I actually went down quite a bit. So I was expecting to go down maybe by about 10 points, but I went down all the way down to about 77. So hadn't I gone down by about 20 points, I would have actually got to veteran ranking, but yeah, unlucky there. I think I might face some higher opponents, so those losses did count to a lot more loss in MMR. So on to the next game, Dragonite, like I said, winnable game. And yeah, so shield once, and just throw Night Slashes out, and he's almost in the final range, so I'm not going to let this go through. So again, I'm able to win the lead, so my opponent does bring out a Kingdra. This Night Slash should do quite a lot of damage because I do believe I've got the boost. My opponent does shield that, which is fine. I do just carry on countering it down because I don't want to get hard countered on Drifblim. It does happen. Here I'm suspecting it to be an Obstagoon because I don't shield. I do suspect there to be an Empoleon in the back, so I'm like, okay, what do I do? Throw the Shadow Ball and switch into my Charizard so I can get hidden energy. We'll get that off, and I'm going to commit to the full farm down now. But sadly I wasn't able to, so here I'm like, okay, let's take the Obstagoon and just bring my Charizard in. But like I said, my opponent has an Empoleon in the back, so I should have seen that a lot sooner with the thingy, but at that point I already committed the Drifblim against the Kingdra, and yeah, my Charizard was going to be paired up with two counters pretty much, Kingdra or Empoleon, so yeah, unlucky there. On to the next game. So Obstagoon Swampert, again decent matchup, just gotta go for the Night Slashes and hope for a boost. I think we get to the Charge Move at the same time. I believe I do win CMP. So I'm able to get that through. It's just a Hydro Cannon, so sometimes I do think my opponent is going to bait me with an Earthquake, but the Obstagoon can tank an Earthquake quite comfortably. You can also tank two Hydro Cannons fairly well. I still have quite a lot of health where I can actually throw another Night Slash because my opponent can't farm me down. So yep, my opponent does shield. I get the boost there, which is brilliant because that's what I needed to turn the game around. My opponent does get to a Hydro Cannon, but I'll shield this to kind of match shields, and I should win Switch now. So winning Switch obviously makes a big difference in Ultra League. It can help you win or pair up your Pokemon against their counters. So my opponent has a Guide in the back and one can take me out. So at this point I'm just bringing out Drifblim because it has the best matchup against this Gallade. I'm not going to shield anything because obviously everything is resisted. These blades do hurt and sort of confusion. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball because my opponent is going to suspect I'm going to throw an Icy Wind. Could have thrown so in the back is on the bottom of the snow, so I switch into my Charizard straight away because yeah, at that point my opponent can't do anything. Nothing it can do will hurt me. So on to the next game against an Empoleon. So again, this is going to be a Steel Double Dragon team. My opponent switches out to Kingdra. Kingdra is such an awesome safe switch. Really hate it, but yeah, it does really well against my team, and I'm not able to get the boost there, so I switch into my Charizard. For some reason, I think because I want to also keep the Obstagoon for the Empoleon match. So obviously Charizard doesn't have the best matchup against Kingdra, but it can do decent. I'm going straight for the Dragon Claw, but I do get farmed down. And now I'm going to bring back my Obstagoon, I believe. Yep, because I can actually farm down the Kingdra from here. I believe this is Noctiluca, so I'm not going to shield. This should give me a big opportunity to farm this down completely, and I didn't get the buff, so it makes it even better. So now my opponent is going to bring in his Dragonite, so I'm going to throw the Night Slash and dip. Should have probably kept the energy for the Empoleon, but I'm going to throw two. So right now I'm just trying to force shields from my opponent, and so I can basically do a lot more work with the Drifblim. My opponent switch out, I simultaneously switch out into my Empoleon. So here it's all about getting to the charge moves. My opponent also gets to the Hydro Cannon first. I do shield, and I try baiting with the Icy Wind. And my opponent does shield, which is great. So now I can go straight Shadow Ball. The great thing about Icy Wind is it does bring the damage from waterfalls down, so I can actually outlive and should be able to do quite a decent amount to the Dragonite that comes in. So here, I think I am going to shield this as well, because my Drifblim is the only player I've got left, and I should be able to farm. My opponent does bring out his own Dragonite, and yeah, I switched into my own Obstagoon thinking that I can catch a move, but it wasn't. Sadly, good well played by my opponent. My opponent also had a shield as well, so it was pretty lost. On to the next game. Also lead lost here against S Cavalier, so I'm going to switch out straight away to Drifblim. Fable, which is fine because Drifloon can do fairly well against it. My opponent doesn't go for the bait, so he does get debuffed, which is fine. That was the plan. Go for the second icy wind now. That one gets shielded, which is perfect. So now I am happy to let my Drifloon go, but I decided to keep it because I want to obviously maintain switch. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball now, and this should go through without being shielded. So yep, I've successfully maintained switch, and my opponent was going to bring back his Escavalier, but my Drifloon basically has a good matchup against it, and obviously Charizard can do quite a lot against it too. So yeah, at this point my opponent is going to throw an Aerial Ace, which is fine, he can take it out. I'm just going to bring my Charizard in now, because it has the more dominant matchup. My opponent has a Gallade, so I switch out into my Obstagoon, because again, it has a winning matchup. So straight Night Slash, I am counting the confusions, because I don't want to get close combat. I do believe this will be a close combat, and it was. I do decide to let it go because I know I can basically farm down here with my Charizard, and because it's Escavalier, I have to worry about any charge moves as well. So my opponent could have shielded that if he wanted to, but it's because he close combated already, it made more sense. So yeah, Aerial Ace there. So again, great game to my opponent. So this is the last game from the set. But yeah, overall did really well. Went 3-2 the set, and again hard lead loss here. Switched around to my Drifblim, and my opponent meets it with Lapras. So went 3-2 in the set, and I think my final rating was 2496, so or 2487 or something. So a bit closer, but I wish I was a bit closer than that. So we made it really close to 2499, almost veteran ranking. But sadly it's going to be another day until I get there. So team's doing really well. I'm going to carry on playing it, and now I'm just going to bring my Obstagoon and not shield anything and just fully farm this Lapras down. So guys, if you have enjoyed what you've seen, it's been a fairly long one. Please like and subscribe, and hopefully bring you some more shorter videos. This was just me displaying my sets for today. Turned out to be a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but it is what it is. Alright, as you can see I'm tapping in quite a lot, and my opponent has a Machamp in the back. So I've got to call this correctly. I don't think I do, so I think this will be a game loss. He does shield the Dragon Claw, which is fine. So I'm calling this. I do think it's going to be Rock Slide, and it is. So I call that correctly, and I'm able to get to a move. And I didn't know my opponent was going to swap, so I held on to my energy and basically blast burn this completely. I should be able to get to the Dragon Claw before my opponent gets to a move. So because I knew my opponent was going to do that, and because he threw Rock Slide, I knew it would take a bit longer to get to energy. So here I decide to, well, my opponent gets to a move. So that switch was good by my opponent, but I do have energy on my Obstagoon. I farmed down from Lapras. So great game to my opponent. Well played, and yeah, this was a 3-2 set. And if you guys did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and a rating. So thank you for watching, and take care.